So today we're going to be looking at a scenario where NATO goes into a civil war. Now the most likely way that this war is going to be caused is if a NATO member declares war on another NATO member. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let's go ahead and get started. So we have every single NATO country colored in blue here. And well, we're going to be having a civil war, and I'm going to try to make the sides as logical as possible. Now, I don't know how this, well, actually, no, I just thought of a way that this war is going to spark. So yeah, let's go ahead and start that. And the spark of this war is going to be Greece and Turkey. So we have Turkey declaring war on Greece, which does activate all of NATO. But let's just say, for example, some countries aren't on board with this. First off, we have Albania joining in on Turkey's side. We also have North Macedonia joining against Greece. And you can see from here how this is going to possibly escalate. Now, if you aren't aware of recent events, Greece has recently made a defensive pact with France, meaning that France is going to be staying on Greece's side. Now that we haven't gotten to Western Europe yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Moving upland, we're going to see a chain reaction here in the Balkans, with many of these Balkan countries joining in on the side of Turkey, simply just because they don't want to get invaded by Turkey. The Hungary and Poland are good friends, so they're going to be joining. With that, we have Slovakia joining in and Lithuania joining in. So you can see how this is kind of really escalated into a stage where NATO is experiencing a civil war now. Now, of course, this is just the Eastern Bloc countries, so it isn't that big of a deal, but just to kind of even it out, I'm going to be throwing in some more countries. We're going to be having Spain joining in on the red side. Now, Kosovo is completely unrelated to this video, but Spain doesn't recognize Kosovo, and Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, they don't recognize Kosovo either, so I'm just going to be throwing them in on their side. Now, that's not a valid reason to join the war on that side, but just for balancing, we're going to be doing that. We're also going to have the Czech Republic joining in on the red side, and I think this is probably the greatest extent that this would be realistic, other than Spain. I think this is like kind of how this would play out if a civil war was inevitable. But I'm going to go ahead and throw in another country on the red side, which is going to be Latvia and also Norway. So there we have that. Obviously, the U.S. is going to be staying on the blue side just because, you know, U.S. and France, France and Greece, it all connects back. Same with the U.K., you know, U.S. and U.K., good friends. Canada would probably be smart in this scenario and not joining in on the red side because they're surrounded by the US. That wouldn't be smart. And yeah, so this is the sides that I've come up with. Let's go ahead and start the war. The very first thing to happen is Turkey and all of the surrounding nations pushing into Greece, pushing pretty far down as the Greek military really doesn't have a chance against all of these nations. We also have a minor Spanish invasion into northern Portugal, but this isn't really seen as a threat to Portugal as their military hasn't fully mobilized. Same with Spain, this is just a small invasion. Over in Estonia, we can see Latvia pushing upwards. Now, there's going to be no foreign interference in this war, so it's just going to be NATO and no one else. Back in Greece, Turkey and France continue to push back down as Turkey takes some islands. Eventually, all of mainland Greece is lost and Athens is captured. With that, we have the full surrender of Greece. From here, we have Albania pushing up and capturing Montenegro, and Latvia continuing to push into Estonia. Back over in Iberia, the Spanish military is fully mobilized and starts a full-on invasion of Portugal, making lots of progress. We also have Poland making a small but notable push into Germany. Now, if you don't know where Berlin is, it's like right there. So that's not really good for Germany. We also have the Czech Republic pushing into eastern Bavaria, and Hungary makes a very small push into Croatia and Slovenia. So at the first glance, we can see that the red team is having lots of success here. If the red team is able to wipe out Portugal, take out Estonia, wipe out Slovenia and Croatia, they might be able to establish a broader front and might actually have a chance at fighting back the blue team. But basically, the red team is going to be having to do as much as they can before the blue team is fully prepared. So let's see how far they can get. Eventually, Estonia is wiped out, and Hungarian troops start to wipe out Slovenia and Croatia. Portugal surrenders, and more progress is made on the German border. Over in Norway, we have the UK making a landing in southern Norway as they start to push over towards Oslo. Eventually, the city is captured, but Norway does not surrender. This leads to a very annoying campaign for the UK to complete, as they have to push up through Norway until the government sends out terms of surrender. Now, Norway is very mountainous, so this is going to be a tedious task. Back down in the Balkans, Croatia and Slovenia are completely wiped out, as the Italian troops near the border and stop the Hungarian troops from advancing. Down in Iberia, Spain makes a slight push up into French Catalonia, but is stopped by French troops who are down near the border as they are getting ready for their full invasion of Spain. We now have Turkish troops who are moving from Greece and moving up into Hungary to hopefully fight off Germany and Italy. We also have Baltic troops and Polish troops moving over to the border to also defeat Germany. Eventually, the red team does make a little bit more progress in Germany as they start to take over pretty much all of Bavaria. They also make a little bit of progress in northern Germany, but are overall stopped by the German army near Berlin. Back in Norway, the UK is once again making tremendous progress until the country of Norway finally surrenders. I don't know why this map is doing this orange dot thing, but it's very annoying. I'm sorry, I know it looks horrible to look at. Back over in France, the French army manages to completely kick out Spain, and they also manage to start an invasion of the Iberian Peninsula, pushing down into Catalonia and other areas of Spain. Over in Italy, troops manage to make a breakthrough and start the invasion of Italy, but this really isn't seen as any success for the red team, as obviously Italy is going to be able to hold them back. At this time, we also have Germany, who is pushing back troops of the red team, and they were reclaiming a lot of their lands. Eventually, the red team is almost completely kicked out of Germany, except for a few small squadrons. At this time, we also have American troops arriving in Europe, and basically the American troops are going to be split up across two fronts, one in Iberia and one in Germany. So we have the Americans making a landing up here in Galicia, and we have American troops docking in Germany and moving down to the front line with Poland. Back over in Germany, the red team is completely kicked out, and an invasion is started of Poland and Czechoslovakia. Back over in Italy, Italy makes progress and pushes into Slovenia and Croatia. So now we have our three main fronts, which is one in Iberia, one in Germany, and one in Slovenia. And these fronts are going to be pretty one-sided now that all of the troops are ready, and obviously Britain is now helping out as well, so that's a big plus for the blue side. Like I said, the red team is going to be focusing on expansion and getting as much land as they could in the shortest amount of time possible. They did that to their greatest extent, but now the blue team is ready and is going to be coming crashing down. Back over in Spain, the two fronts meet up, so we have French and American troops meeting up and starting a push down towards Madrid. The city is captured and Spanish troops start to flee. We also have the liberation of Portugal started as troops from the United States start to push down the coast of Portugal, liberating the almost entire country. So obviously this isn't good for Spain. Now Spain probably took Gibraltar in this scenario. I didn't really include it because it's not even included on this map. That doesn't really matter though because Spain has just surrendered. During this time, we also had lots of progress over here in Poland and Czechoslovakia as German troops have pushed into Poland and taken parts of Czechoslovakia. Down in Italy, there hasn't been much progress on this border as there's been lots of skirmishes. Now the Italian army is just like the World War II Italian army, but we can see over here in Central Europe that the blue team is doing very well, and eventually they take over pretty much all of Poland. Eventually, troops from other countries start to help out Italy as they push back and take back Slovenia and Croatia. From here, a small push is made into Hungary, which later connects to the front made by Germany. And we are left with a red team that looks like this now. Now, obviously, the main power on this team is Turkey, so there's going to be something that the blue team is going to want to do here in order to get a more decisive victory. They're going to want to cut across and connect with Belarus in order to cut off the Baltics, which will easily be able to be taken then. From there, they'll probably invade across Slovakia and cut off the rest of Poland. Now, Poland probably isn't going to last much longer because Warsaw is about there, and obviously that's not a good position. So basically, all of this will be blue, and we'll be left with a red team that looks like this. Now, I could see that the blue team will probably push down to Bulgaria and might liberate Greece. But other than that, I think Turkey might end up surrendering. So yeah, let's get back to the war. In Poland, we have the capturing of Warsaw. And like I said, the blue team splits across and connects with Belarus. From here, they push up into the Baltics as both countries surrender, and Estonia is liberated. From here, troops from all countries on the blue side start to push down into Poland and Slovakia. Eventually, Poland surrenders, as well as Slovakia, and Hungary is captured. From here, the blue team takes a chunk out of Romania and eventually captures the entire country. Now, if you can't tell already, I'm kind of speeding through this as this is just going to be a one-sided war. Bulgaria is eventually taken and a part of Greece is liberated. But this is where I'm going to go ahead and stop and kind of slow down a little bit as we are left with a red team that is split into two. So the first thing that the blue team does is pushes over and captures Albania and North Macedonia and eventually liberates Greece and Montenegro. From there, a small push into Turkey is made, but eventually they are stopped at Istanbul, as they really don't see a point in going on. The Turkish government has already exclaimed that they are willing to negotiate peace. As long as they don't lose any land, they'll surrender. So they decide to do just that. So going ahead and taking a look at the peace treaty here, this is what I came up with. So starting down in Iberia, we have Spain getting pretty messed up here. We have Portugal taking over Galicia and a little bit of southern Spain. We have France taking over a little bit of northern Spain and the release of Catalonia. Moving on over to Germany, we have Germany being Germany and taking over parts of Czechoslovakia and Poland. Speaking of Czechoslovakia, that has been united. This is why I called it that. Over in Slovenia and Croatia, we have them taking a small piece of Hungary. We have Montenegro taking a little bit of land from Albania, as well as Greece taking a little bit of land from North Macedonia, a little bit from Albania, and surprisingly getting Istanbul back from Turkey. Now, I know that I said that Turkey wasn't supposed to lose any land, but they kind of got cheated out in this treaty. So I think it's only fair that if we look at a treaty where Turkey wins. Well, let's look at this treaty, and let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Alright, so taking a look at a peace treaty where the red team wins here, we have a lot of countries just being annexed. Starting down in Greece, we have a horrible partition of Greece here. Now, Turkey obviously is going to get the most out of Greece because, you know, they're enemies. But we also have a Chile, Albania right here on the coast. We have North Macedonia getting access to the sea. And we have Bulgaria getting access to the sea down here as well. We have Hungary getting its old lands back, which was a part of Slovenia and this part of Croatia. Czechia gets a little bit of land out of Bavaria, as well as Poland getting a little bit of land out of Germany. Latvia completely annexes Estonia. And in Iberia, we have Spain annexing Portugal and taking over a little bit of French Catalonia. So that is going to do it for this what-if scenario. Obviously, this is unrealistic in ways of such as the sides. I don't think the sides would be like this. And even more so, I don't think this war would even ever happen. It's very unlikely that a NATO member would declare war on another NATO member, and even more so, it's very unlikely that any other NATO members would aid that attacking NATO member. Obviously, remember, this video was just for fun. To kind of satisfy both sides, I made a peace treaty for both sides. Now, I normally want to try to start doing that because I think it's just more fun. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's very helpful for me, and it shows me that you guys are enjoying these videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.